We are recording. We are starting the clock. We are here with 10-minute talk on tactics, technology, and truth. I don't know how many T's can I put in this. Last time we got kind of beat up, a little bit on pushing the name around a little bit. But the idea is that with a quick 10-minute delve into ideas about leaderships and team and culture and growth and how we live in this society. Your hosts, Philip Folsom, leader of the Wolf Tribe and K4 Men's Group, and myself, Colonel Garth Massey, with the Command Ready program, are coming to you with stories from the battlefield to the boardroom. And today, we're talking perspective. And the idea that no matter where you are and what line you have drawn in the sand, there may be another line further back. And no matter what problem or indignant thing you think has happened to you, you can go further back. And so I wanted to lead off and tell just a little bit of a war story. There are three arguably great battles that changed the course of Western civilization: the Battle of Marathon, the Battle of Thermopylae, and the Battle of Malta. And at that time, there's this great struggle between sort of the Greek Western civilization and the Persian Empire. And, because we are in the Western civilization, it's, the freedom and democracy and thinkers against this evil empire. And that is a twist on history, and not necessarily true. I mean, the Persian Empire brought us all sorts of things, from math to science to libraries to all sorts of cultural stuff and glass. I mean, all kinds of cool things. But
zero.
Yes, the concept of zero. So there's this Battle of Marathon, which was Darius the Great, who evilly attacked the city of Athens after sacking and destroying Eretria, this other city further north of Athens, and just foreign invaders that showed up and killed everybody. But it really depends on your perspective and sort of what lens you look at it. What gets left off in a lot of the great stories of the Battle of Marathon or the great Greek stories was that, several years earlier, when Xerxes' dad, Darius, was establishing his empire and building out what became, the Persian Empire, the Athenians and some other Greeks decided to help support an insurrection, an uprising. And they sailed from Athens over into Persia, and then they marched inland dozens of miles, and they sacked a city. And they burned it to the ground, and they were victorious in taking the city, ultimately routed by the Persian army and pushed back out to the sea, loaded up on their ships, and went back to Athens. Well, when you look at the war story of the Persians and their massive army going to the Bay of Marathon and then trying to attack Athens, we get caught up in look what they did and look how mean they were. They just attacked us, right? They burned Eretria, and now they're trying to attack Athens. But in truth, or if you look at it from a broader perspective, it was really a city for a city exchange. Like the Athenians had attacked and destroyed a city, and so the Persians came back and attacked the city. And this back and forth is what I thought we could talk about today. And it's the idea that wherever you drew the line in the sand, you may be ignoring the fact that there's another line just a little further back and a little further back. And that's a dangerous thing. So I throw it to you, but I don't know. I mean, can we get so caught up in where we think our truth begins and then ignore all truth?
Yeah. Perspective defines reality. If I could just take that story and our current political story happening today and all of the current affairs, your position, your relative objective position is literally creating your reality. And so this comes down to just even the algorithm that is sending you this video, that is defining your reality, because you've got a certain friend circle and you've clicked on a certain amount of ads, and Google Home is listening to what you've said about whatever it is. So we are having our reality shaped by many forces that are not altruistic. They are not based on anything that is virtuous or moral or honorable. It's simply about money. It's about attention. It's manipulation.
Yeah.
So getting back to owning your big picture is that is our duty as men, as Americans, is shape your reality, polish the lens, because our lens is getting warped by outside forces, shall we say. And that reality is incredibly important. The truth is, life is hard. We're filled with, suffering, challenging, traumatizing events that are happening at what seems to be an increasing rate. But again, that could not be true also. Look back 100 years from now, we were dying of massive plagues. War was rampant. People were starving. Like, when you actually look at
slavery. Yeah.
So, again, we're looking at the warping of our lens, and that people who study history, right? Read Sapiens, there's a bunch of popular books. We're doing great. Humanity is doing great. Famine is down, plagues are down, war is down, education is up, infant mortality is down. Like, good job, humanity.
Yeah, crime is down.
Yeah. So it's really important when you look at, yes, there is suffering. Meaning is the thing that makes that suffering tolerable. And so people cling to the rightness of their story because it's their salvation.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Finish that one, because it jumps back to something we talked about before with the idea of stoicism, which is not a new idea. And I love the analogy of the beach. It's like we're labeling the waves. That's a happy wave. That's a sad wave. And we're trying to stop the ones we don't like and, block them. And we're trying to let in the ones we do like. And we're scrambling around like crazy, like drawing lines and building sandcastles to block the bad waves. And then, they get knocked down and we open in and let the good ones in. And I think meaning gives us the ability to just sit on the beach and like enjoy the waves, like let the good ones come in, let the bad ones come in, and they come in and they go out. And that perspective can ground you, your team, your company, your family. It can ground you in the fact that, like, hey, there are good things and bad things. And if I spend my days judging every single one of these, I will be exhausted and ultimately probably wrong. And if instead we could spend our days, finding meaning in sitting on the beach and enjoying life, like the good and the bad, and not be overly optimistic and not be overly pessimistic. I mean, it's that balance. I don't know. I think we're struggling to find that homeostasis, that middle ground. But the second you get there, that's a bad thing. Like, then you need a little struggle again, or being in the center hurts you too. So it's a much deeper conversation we have for 10 minutes, but I cut you off too. So, hit me up in the comments if you think I was pushing Philip around too much.
Hey, I think the big lessons for this, and what's our timer at? Got 90 seconds. Is check your sources, check your perspective, check where you are on the beach, whether that be that line in the sand or the beach of Marathon on the bay, or where you've built your sandcastle, because it really will define the reality of how we observe current events.
And I think if you can give credit to humans, everyone is acting in their own self-interest, and everyone at some degree can be a rational human. And what that means is they think they have a reason. And so your time is better spent trying to understand what their reason and their perspective was, rather than just clinging to yours and fighting the waves. I don't know. Questions are powerful, powerful things. So as leaders, ask more questions and stop telling everybody, everything you think. They say telling everybody what they think. All right, brother, that one ended.
Yeah.
Last words, last thoughts.
I was just trying to get it down to 10 minutes.
You did it. We killed it. We have to turn it off, and we will see you guys next week. Go be amazing. Look for announcements soon. It's time to get to the mountains.
Yep. Godspeed, y'all.